Have you ever felt that life was trying to get your attention, but you kept running too fast to notice? Think for a moment. How many times have you rushed through your days, through your weeks, as if life was some endless race with no finish line? You wake up, you work, you struggle, you try, and then the day is gone. But let me ask you, when was the last time you actually stopped, completely stopped, and listened to the voice inside you? Today is not just another date on a calendar. Today is not just another ordinary sunrise. There is something hidden in this moment that most people will miss. And the truth is, the people who miss it will continue living the same cycle tomorrow, next week, and next year. But you have already done something different. You stopped, you pressed pause, you are here, listening. And that single choice already separates you from the millions still asleep in their routine. Let me congratulate you, because very few people have the courage to stop. Stopping requires awareness. Stopping requires courage. Stopping requires the willingness to face the truth that maybe, just maybe, life is offering you more than what you've been accepting. And I want to promise you something. If you stay with me until the very end of this video, you will walk away with a reward far greater than money, far greater than anything material. You will walk away with a shift, a change inside your mind that no one can take away from you. You will discover why today, this exact date, is much bigger than you think. But first, pause for a second. Feel the weight of this moment. Feel the fact that you are alive right now in this exact second. That breath you just took. Do you realize how many people wished for it but never got the chance? Do you realize how many people went to sleep yesterday and never opened their eyes today? Yet here you are, alive, breathing, listening. This is not an accident. This is not random. This moment is yours. You see, most of us are prisoners of speed. We are told to keep going, to keep moving, to never stop. Society glorifies hustle, noise, busyness. But let me ask you, if speed alone was the answer, why are so many people still lost? Why are so many still empty, chasing, searching for meaning but never finding it? Because speed without direction is chaos. And chaos never builds greatness. That is why today, right here, right now, you are asked to stop, not to give up, not to quit, but to finally wake up. Stopping means awareness. Stopping means you are no longer controlled by automatic routines. Stopping means you are ready to claim your power back. Think of a bow and arrow. The more you pull back, the further the arrow flies. Stopping is that pull back. Stopping is not weakness. It is preparation. Preparation. It is strength disguised as stillness. And those who master the art of stopping are the ones who rise above the rest. So ask yourself right now, what has life been trying to tell me that I have been too busy to hear? What opportunities have been standing right in front of me while I was distracted by noise? What dreams have been calling my name, but I drowned them out with excuses, with fear, with doubt? Today is the day to hear those whispers again. Today is the day to give yourself permission to stop and see. Because when you stop, your vision clears. When you stop, you finally see the patterns you've been repeating. When you stop, you take your power back from the endless rush of the world. And I want you to remember this truth. Greatness never comes to those who are constantly running. Greatness comes to those who know when to pause, when to reflect, and when to rise stronger than before. So let me ask you, will you keep running blindly, or will you stop here today and step into awareness? The choice is yours, but the fact that you are still here proves something important. You are ready. Ready for a turning point. Ready for a new chapter. Ready for the deeper meaning that this day holds. Stay with me until the end, because what I will share with you about today will not just inspire you, it will shake you awake. It will challenge the way you see yourself and your future, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Congratulations, because you have already done the hardest part. You stopped, and because you stopped, you are about to rise higher than ever before. When you stop, something powerful happens. The noise fades, the rush slows down, and for the first time in a long time, you can actually hear yourself think. This is the gift of the pause. Most people are terrified of silence. They fear slowing down because it forces them to face their own thoughts. But the truth is, silence is not your enemy. Silence is your teacher. The pause is not a weakness, it is wisdom. Think about it. A heart does not beat in one constant motion. It contracts, then it rests, then it contracts again. Life itself is built on pauses. Without the pause, there is no rhythm. Without the pause, there is no strength. The same is true for you. Without pausing, your life becomes nothing more than noise, motion without meaning. This is why stopping matters. It gives you perspective. It shows you what is real and what is distraction. When you stop, you begin to see the difference between what truly matters and what only steals your time. That's when clarity enters. That's when direction becomes possible. Ask yourself, how many times have I been so busy chasing everything that I lost sight of the one thing that really matters? How many times have I filled my days with noise just to avoid listening to my own heart? The pause forces you to face yourself, and facing yourself is the beginning of strength, because only when you know where you truly stand can you take the next step with confidence. Stopping does not mean quitting. It means recharging. It means gathering strength for the battles ahead. It means refusing to live like a machine and choosing instead to live like a human being, aware and awake. So do not run from the pause. Embrace it, because inside that pause lies the doorway to your next level of life. Now that you understand the power of the pause, let's look at why this moment, today, is different from any other. September 21 is not just a date, it is a reminder. A reminder that life is more than routine, more than rushing, more than survival. Every calendar day holds potential, but some days stand out like markers on the road of life. They whisper to us, wake up, pay attention, this moment matters. Today is one of those markers. It's not about history. It's not about coincidence. It's about awareness. What you decide to do with today can echo for years. Think of all the times you promised yourself change. Promised you would start fresh, that you would take action, that you would live with more discipline, more courage, more focus. How many times did those promises fade away because you told yourself, maybe tomorrow? But tomorrow never came, or never came. And yet, here you are standing at the doorway of today, being told, this is not just another chance. This is the chance. The significance of this day is not in the date itself. It is in what you choose to attach to it. Human beings are wired to respond to meaning. When we assign meaning to a day, to a moment, it becomes more powerful in our minds. And when the mind believes in the weight of a day, the heart follows and action begins. That's why today is bigger than you think. Because if you decide that today is the day you break the cycle, then this ordinary day turns into the most extraordinary turning point of your life. And from this day forward, you will remember it not as a date on the calendar, but as the moment everything changed. Today is not a page to be flipped. Today is the chapter to be written, and only you can decide what story it tells. Every day arrives carrying a gift, but most people never unwrap it. They are too distracted, too busy, too consumed by problems that don't even matter in the long run. But today, this day, comes with a hidden gift that only those who stop and pay attention can see. The gift is not material. It is not something you can hold in your hands. It is something far more valuable. The gift of today is possibility, the possibility to change direction. The possibility to let go of what is holding you back. The possibility to decide that the life you've been living is no longer enough. This is the secret most people miss, the power of a single day. We underestimate it because it feels too small. We think transformation needs years. We think success needs decades. But in reality, everything begins with one day, one choice, one decision. Today carries that weight. Imagine standing in front of two doors. One leads to the same routine you've always known, the same excuses, the same fears, the same endless cycle of tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. The other door leads to something unknown, something greater. A door that requires courage, awareness, and commitment. That door is the hidden gift. And only those who recognize the importance of today will walk through it. Think about it. The greatest stories of change, the most powerful transformations, the boldest achievements, they all started with one moment, one decision, one ordinary day that became extraordinary. And for you, that day can be today. So do not overlook the gift in front of you. Do not throw it aside like just another date on the calendar. Because inside this very moment is the seed of a life you have not yet lived. And if you choose to embrace it, this hidden gift will grow into something beyond anything you ever imagined. Deep inside you, there is a voice that never stops speaking. A voice that knows who you really are and what you are truly capable of. But most of the time, that voice is drowned out by the noise of the world. By opinions, by doubts, by fears, by endless distractions that keep you too busy to listen. That inner voice is your compass. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It nudges you when you are off course. It reminds you of the dreams you once carried before life convinced you to settle. And yet so often people ignore it. They bury it under excuses. They silence it with comfort. They pretend it doesn't exist because following it feels too risky, too uncomfortable, too different from the crowd. But here is the truth. Ignoring that voice is the fastest way to lose yourself. You can achieve, you can succeed, you can even impress others. But if you silence the voice within, you will always feel empty. Because deep down, you know you betrayed yourself. Today is the day to listen again. To stop, to pause, to silence everything else long enough to hear that whisper clearly. Maybe it is telling you to start something new. Maybe it is reminding you to let go of what is breaking you. Maybe it is pushing you to finally take the leap you've been delaying for years. Whatever it is saying, you already know is the truth, because it has been repeating itself inside you for far too long. That inner voice is not here to hurt you. It is here to guide you. It is the part of you that still believes in your potential, even when you've given up on yourself. And if you choose to listen to it today, you will unlock a strength far greater than anything the outside world could ever give you. So quiet the noise. Listen, because the inner voice you hear today may just be the spark that lights the fire of the rest of your life. Listening to your inner voice is powerful, but it means nothing you keep living inside the same old patterns. Most people wake up every day and repeat yesterday, the same thoughts, the same habits, the same excuses. They live in circles, mistaking movement for progress. But a circle never moves forward. It only keeps you where you've always been. This is why life feels heavy for so many. Not because they lack ability, not because they lack opportunity, but because they are trapped in patterns that keep them small. Patterns of fear, patterns of delay, patterns of saying, someday, while watching years slip away. If you are honest with yourself, you already know the patterns that are holding you back. You know the habits that drain your energy. You know the excuses you've been using. You know the distractions you hide behind. And the longer you repeat them, the deeper the cycle becomes. But here's the truth. Patterns are not prisons. They can be broken. The first strike against them comes the moment you decide you've had enough. Enough of repeating the same mistakes. Enough of settling for less. Enough of betraying your own potential. That decision is the hammer that cracks the walls of the cycle. And once the pattern breaks, you are no longer a prisoner. You are free to create something new. Free to choose discipline instead of delay. Free to choose courage instead of comfort. Free to choose growth instead of excuses. Breaking the old pattern will not feel easy. The mind resists change because it craves familiarity, even when familiarity is destroying you. But discomfort is proof that you are moving in the right direction. Growth always feels uncomfortable at first. So today, make the choice to stop repeating yesterday. Make the choice to break the cycle. Because the future you are dreaming of will never come from the patterns that created your past. When you break the old pattern, something remarkable happens. Awareness. Awareness is the light that reveals what has always been hidden in the dark. It is the moment you finally see your life for what it is, not for what you've been pretending it to be. Awareness is powerful because it removes illusion. You can no longer lie to yourself once you see clearly. You can no longer pretend the excuses are valid, or that the distractions are worth your time. Awareness cuts through the noise like a sharp blade, leaving only the truth. And the truth is, the life you want has always been waiting for you. It was only blocked by the patterns you refused to confront. Think of how people live in autopilot. Waking up, scrolling, working, sleeping, repeating. Days blur into weeks, weeks blur into years, and one day they look back wondering where their life went. This is what happens without awareness. Life passes by unnoticed, unlived. But the moment you become aware, time slows down. You begin to notice. You begin to feel. You begin to choose consciously instead of drifting unconsciously. Awareness is the first taste of freedom. And with freedom comes responsibility, the responsibility to act on what you now see. Because once you are awake, you cannot go back to sleep. Once you realize the truth, you cannot unknow it. The burden of awareness is that it demands change, but that is also its beauty. Awareness gives you power. It gives you clarity. It puts your hands back on the wheel of your life. And when you take the wheel, you no longer live by accident, you live by intention. This is why awareness matters so deeply. It transforms your pause into purpose. It turns today into a turning point. and it gives you the strength to never again waste the gift of a single day. Awareness opens your eyes, but stillness gives you strength. In a world that glorifies constant movement, people forget that real power often comes from the ability to be still. Stillness is not weakness, it is control. It is the mastery of self. Think of the strongest trees. They do not rush. They do not move frantically. They stand firm, rooted deep, unshaken by storms. Their strength does not come from constant motion, but from their ability to remain grounded. In the same way, when you embrace stillness, you find a power that noise and chaos can never give you. Most people believe strength is proven through action, through hustle, through endless effort, through doing more. But strength without direction leads to exhaustion. True strength is found in the balance between action and stillness. It is the calm center inside you that does not break when life pushes against you. When you allow yourself to be still, you step outside of the chaos of the world. You detach from opinions, comparisons, and distractions. You begin to hear clarity. You begin to see solutions that were hidden by the rush. Stillness sharpens your mind like a blade, preparing you to act with precision instead of wasting energy on noise. And here is the secret. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the preparation for powerful movement. Just like the archer pulls the bow back before releasing the arrow, your stillness stores energy. When the moment comes to act, you act with focus, with force, with unstoppable strength. So never confuse stillness with doing nothing. Stillness is training. Stillness is discipline. Stillness is choosing to master yourself before you step out to master the world. And once you discover this strength, no chaos, no storm, no distraction will ever control you again. Stillness gives you strength, but what you do with that strength matters most. This is the moment to reclaim control over your life. For too long, many have lived under the influence of everything outside themselves. Opinions, expectations, trends, and fears. They hand over their power without even realizing it. But today is the day to take it back. Control begins in the mind. Every thought you allow, every belief you accept, every voice you listen to shapes the direction of your life. If you let the outside world dictate your thoughts, then you surrender your future. But when you decide to guard your mind, to choose what you focus on, you take the first step toward freedom. Think about how often people are controlled by distractions. A phone notification changes their mood. A single opinion destroys their confidence. A temporary failure convinces them to give up. That is not living. It is slavery to circumstances. Real control comes when you decide that no outside force will determine who you are or where you are going. Reclaiming control is not about controlling everything around you. It is about mastering yourself within. You cannot control the storms of life, but you can control how you face them. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control your effort, your discipline, your focus. That is where real power lives. And once you reclaim that power, you stop moving like a leaf in the wind. You become the one who decides. You become the one who sets the course. You no longer drift, you direct. You no longer react, you respond with strength. This is the gift of stillness. It arms you with clarity. And with clarity, you reclaim the driver's seat of your life. No more handing over the wheel. No more letting the world push you where it wants. Today is the day you grip the wheel with both hands and steer toward the life you were meant to live. Once you reclaim control, everything narrows down to one truth. Your life is shaped not by chances, but by decisions. A single decision has the power to redirect the course of your future. And the most dangerous thing you can do is avoid making one. Every great achievement in history began with a decision to rise, to fight, to change, to refuse to remain the same. Decisions are the turning points that separate the life you have from the life you want. Without them, you drift endlessly, waiting for circumstances to change, waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. The mind will always try to delay decisions. It whispers, not today, maybe tomorrow, wait until you're ready. But here is the truth, waiting does not make you ready. Deciding makes you ready. The moment you commit, your mind finds strength, your heart finds courage, and your path begins to open. Think of the times in your life when everything changed. It was not because the world suddenly became easier. It was because you chose differently. You chose to rise when you could have stayed down. You chose to try again when giving up seemed easier. You chose to step forward even when fear told you to step back. That is the power of decision. It creates momentum. It builds identity. It turns ordinary days into defining days, and today carries that same possibility. If you choose with conviction, this day will become the decision point you look back on as the beginning of everything new. Do not underestimate the weight of one choice. It can break chains that have held you for years. It can ignite a fire that burns through every limitation. It can turn a someday into a today. So decide. Decide who you will be. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. Decide the direction your life will take. Because when you choose with clarity and courage, nothing and no one can stand in your way. If you are still here, listening, reflecting, and holding on to these words, then let me say this: you deserve congratulations. Not the shallow kind of congratulations people give out of habit, but the real kind. The kind that recognizes courage. The kind that honors awareness. The kind that means you have already done something most people never do. You stopped. You listened. You chose to see. That alone separates you from the countless others who are still caught in the loop of distraction and routine. They didn't pause. They didn't reflect. They kept running blindly. But you chose differently. And that decision deserves recognition. Understand something important. Awareness itself is a victory. Most people never reach it. They live their entire lives asleep, unaware that they were capable of more. But you are not one of them. You are awake. You are awake. And because of that, you hold the key to change. Congratulations for having the courage to face yourself, for daring to listen to the voice inside you instead of silence, for realizing that your patterns do not define you and that stillness can make you stronger. These are not small steps. These are the foundations of transformation. And the truth is, very few ever get this far. They give up before they even begin. They convince themselves that nothing will change, so they never try. But you are proving right now that you are different, that you are not content with drifting through life half asleep. So take this moment in. Feel the weight of this realization. Let it sink in that you are no longer standing where you used to stand. You are already further ahead simply because you chose to wake up. That is worthy of respect. That is worthy of honor. That is why I congratulate you. Now that awareness has been reached and the courage within has been recognized, the question becomes, what do you do with it? This is the turning point, the place where your story shifts from what was to what can be. The moment when you step off the old road of repetition and step onto the new path of intention. A new path does not appear fully built. It begins as a single step into unfamiliar ground. It is unmarked, uncertain, and sometimes uncomfortable, but that is what makes it powerful. The old way feels easy because it is known, but it keeps you trapped. The new path demands effort, but it leads to freedom. Every step you take on it is proof that you are willing to trade comfort for growth. This path is not about perfection, it is about direction. You don't need to have everything figured out. You only need to know that you are no longer willing to stay where you are. Progress begins when you refuse to settle for the old limits you once accepted. That refusal, that decision, is the first step of the new journey. And yes, it will challenge you within you. The path will test your resolve. Doubt will whisper, and old patterns will try to pull you back. But remember this, the struggle is a sign you are moving forward. Resistance always appears when change is real. Do not mistake that resistance for failure. It is proof that growth is happening. Walking a new path means carrying responsibility, but it also means carrying hope. It means knowing that your actions matter, that your choices shape not only your own future, but the lives around you. You are no longer wandering, you are walking with purpose. This is the beginning of a life where each step carries meaning. And though the road is long, you have already proven that you are capable of walking it. The first step has been taken. The path is yours now. Responsibility is not a burden meant to break you. It is the very weight that strengthens you. Just like a muscle grows under resistance, your character grows under responsibility. The greater the weight you choose to carry, the greater the person you become. Those who run from it remain weak, but those who embrace it rise above what once seemed impossible. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you. You stop blaming circumstances, other people, or luck. You recognize that no matter how unfair life may appear, the power to respond, your responsibility, belongs to you alone. That awareness transforms frustration into fuel. Suddenly, instead of being trapped by challenges, you are shaped by them. Carrying responsibility also gives your life direction. Without it, days blur together and feel empty. With it, every action connects to something larger than yourself. It turns ordinary moments into meaningful ones. Waking up early isn't just about discipline, it's about being prepared to lead. Working hard isn't just about money, it's about building a foundation for those who depend on you. Every sacrifice becomes a brick in the structure of your future. Yes, responsibility is heavy. It asks for sacrifice, discipline, and courage. But consider the alternative. A life without responsibility might feel light in the short term, but it quickly collapses under the weight of regret. Emptiness, aimlessness, and weakness follow. True freedom does not come from avoiding responsibility. It comes from choosing it. When you accept responsibility, you step into your highest potential. You declare to yourself and the world that you are not merely a passenger in life's journey, you are the one holding the wheel. And with every choice, every action, every step, you prove that the weight you carry is the very thing making you strong.